Hi, welcome back. In the previous tutorial, we looked at different tasks that we can perform on strings in JavaScript. So we looked at string concatenation, so joining strings or variables together. We looked at finding the length or how many characters are in a string. We looked at converting numbers to strings. And we also looked at accessing individual characters from a string. So maybe extracting a letter from a string, or maybe finding out a position of a character in a string, so searching for something in a string. And we also looked at how to convert text, so to convert letters to either uppercase or lowercase. In this tutorial, we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at substring functions, so we'll look at substrings, and we'll also look at splitting strings apart. Okay, so substrings, basically what that is we can extract sections of a string. So for example, we might have a sentence and we might want to extract a few words from that sentence, or we might have a word and we might want to extract a few letters from that sentence. So there are a number of different reasons why you might want to use substring methods. One example might be that you might have some text that's been uploaded by a user, maybe on a website or an app, and you might want to condense that text. You might just want to maybe show part of it, and then maybe the user can click on a button like click on more to see more of that text. So if you wanted to just condense, sort of cut some of that text and chop off the rest of it and hide the rest of it, then you could use a substring function to maybe just grab the first 50 words of that text, or the first 200 characters, or something like that. Okay, so there are a number of different uses for this when we're working with strings. So what I'll do is I'll create a string. I'll just create a sentence. I'll just do the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and end that with a semicolon. All right, so I've got a sentence stored in a variable called sentence, and so it's a string stored in a variable. All right, and so we'll look at a couple of different ways that we can use substring methods to extract parts of this string. So and we'll just log the result to the console. So what we could do is we could say sentence dot substring, and substring takes two parameters, the starting point and the ending point. So for example, if I type in 2, 5 in the brackets here, and this code that I've got highlighted here, this could be stored in a variable, but at the moment I'm just outputting the result of it, or what it returns in the console. So what this will actually do is it's going to show the characters between index 2 and index 5, or position 2 and position 5. All right, so remember in the previous tutorial we looked at the fact that a string is basically a sequence of characters, an array of characters, and each of those characters, whether it be letters, numbers, spaces, punctuation marks and symbols, each of those is indexed. It has a position, and it starts from 0. So here we have the letter T is in position 0, H is in 1, E is in 2, a space is in 3, Q is in 4, and so on. So a substring method here, what that's going to do is, in this example, show us what appears between index 2 and index 5. So if we save that code and we go back and we just open up the console, so right click this page and inspect, or open up the developer tools, click on console. If we refresh that page, we see E and a space and Q. All right, so if we go back, that's what we've extracted there. All right, so remember we start from 0, so T is 0, H is 1, E is 2. All right, so it started from 2, it's got 2, 3, and 4. All right, it hasn't actually grabbed the 5th character, and that's how this substring method works. It starts from position 2 and extracts everything up until before the second number there, which is position 5. So if I change that to 6, oops, then we should see U as well. All right, if I make it 10, then we see a few more characters. We've got basically character 2 all the way up to number 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is the space at the end there. All right, so that's the substring method we can use to extract parts of a string. There is another similar one. Just change that. And just have another look at an example there. All right, so we can extract different parts there. There is another substring function or method we can use, and it's just called substr. Now this one is a little bit different. In the brackets, we put in 2 numbers, but instead of showing all the characters between a starting point and an ending point, this is going to show a certain number of characters after a starting point. So if I put in 5, 2, what this is going to do is start from character 5 and then show me 2 characters after index 5. All right, so if I save and refresh the page, I see UI. All right, so in the sentence we've got UI here. So what that's done is it's gone, it's counted to index 5. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so U is in index 5, and then it's counted 2 characters, so U and I. All right, and that's what's displayed in the console there. All right, if I change that to 3, then we'll get 3 characters from position 5. If I change that to 6, then we'll get 3 characters from position 6. Okay, so those are 2 substring functions that just work, each of them works a little bit differently. Okay, now what we'll look at doing is using the split method. All right, so what I might want to do is maybe I want to split this sentence up wherever there's a space, and I might want to store all of the words in this sentence separately and then maybe do something with each word separately. So what I can do is actually turn this sentence into an array, and an array is just a collection of different values, kind of like a list. So we could have like a list of words, or we could have a list of numbers, or something like that. So what I'll do is I'll create a new variable. I'll call it words. And I'm going to say sentence.split, and then in brackets and quotation marks, we specify where wherever we want to split this string. So if I wanted to split the string every time we saw a space, then I'd just put in a space. All right, and that's it. All right, so now what I could do, if I save that and refresh, I won't actually see anything happen. But if I said console.log words, square brackets, and then put a number in that square bracket, those square brackets, that is going to grab one of the words from this sentence. So basically what's happened is all of the words, wherever there's a space, the words have been extracted and placed into an array or a list. Okay, so if I put in words 1, that will grab the second word, which is quick, and it will display that. If I set 0, remember we count from 0 in programming, it's going to say the. If I put in 3, it should say brown. Oh, sorry, fox. So brown would be 2. So the is in position 0, quick is in position 1, brown is in position 2, and fox is in position 3. So that, like we looked at before, in the previous tutorial, if I wanted to extract a single character or maybe a letter from this string, I could say sentence and then in square brackets the index, and that would extract character 3, which is actually going to be the space. So I might try 4, which will be Q, and we see Q there in the console. But now that I'm doing this with words instead of sentence, rather than extracting just a single character, it's extracting a whole word, because we split this sentence up wherever we saw a space. So all of the words have been put into an array or a list of words. Okay, if I do console.log words, we'll actually see a list of all of these words stored separately, and this is called an array. So we have multiple string values stored separately as separate items in an array or a list, rather than just one set of a whole heap of characters stored as one string. All of these characters are stored as multiple strings, and we can actually see the indexes of all the words in this sentence. There's 9 words in the sentence with indexes starting from 0 up to 8. So when I say console.log words 3, we see fox. All right, so that's the split method, and the split method turns a string into an array of strings, a list of strings. Okay, we don't have to split it wherever there's a space. We could split it where there's a particular letter. So if I replaced the space with n there, what it will do is look through the string until it finds an n, and then this is going to be one string here, and then the rest would be split up into a second string. So we'd have an array of 2 strings. All right, we could do that right now. We could try that out. We'll just refresh the page, and we can see it's made it into an array of just 2 strings. Okay, so if I said console.log words 0, it'll just show that first bit, the quick brow. Okay, that's it for this tutorial. So we've looked at how to use substring functions to extract parts of a string, and we've looked at how to use the split method, substring methods and split method to split up a string into an array. Thanks for watching.